Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha, the teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Melamed, Shlita. Here we are midweek, continuing our learning, but please continue davening for Chaylei Tzvagan Yisrael, Refuah Shalem L'chol P'tzuei Yisrael, and a safe return of all of our hostages. And we dedicate our learning to Nishmat Seren, Daniel Shimon, and Rav Doron V'Shalei Shemikim Damo. And we continue next with Takonas Shalosh HaTefilos. B'nusav l'Tefilos HaMiuchedos So aside from the individual prayers that our forefathers would recite in times of need, so the Gemara in Brachas and Daf Chavav tells us that not only would they have these specific personal prayers they would recite, but they had regular times that they would establish to daven. Avraham Avinu Tikinas Tefillah Shachris. Avraham was the one who instituted the morning prayer, because he began to enlighten the world with his faith. And therefore his prayer was instituted at the time when the sun begins to shine. Yitzchak is the one that's credited with establishing Mincha, the afternoon prayer. The unique aspect of Yitzchak is that he was able to continue in the ways of his father Avraham Avinu. Sometimes it's easier to blaze your own path than to continue one that's made for you. The strength of Yitzchak that he was able to continue walking and following the path of faith. And corresponding to this is the afternoon prayer of Mincha. This is an expression of continuity, that the entire day is an extension of the strength and the power of emunah, of faith. And Marev, as we know, the evening prayer was established by Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov had to deal with many difficult situations, many struggles, and he became stronger from each and every one of them. And therefore he established the nighttime prayer, because at nighttime in the darkness, when one could theoretically get lost in the dark and you can't find your way, it's still possible, even amidst the darkness, to develop a tie, a kesher with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with God, and through this we can reveal the light that comes from above, the eternal light. So once we have these set times for davening, morning, afternoon, and evening, so many pious and righteous people follow this path, and they, again, daven at these times. Kvish Omer David HaMelech, and David HaMelech says in Tehillim in the 55th chapter, Ani kel kim ekrov Hashem yishayeni erev vavok v'tzaharayim asicha ve'emeh v'yishma koli. So there in the pasuk it indicates erev vavok v'tzaharayim. They are starting at night, of course, night, morning, and afternoon. Kehemshech lemineg ha'avos, and in continuity of this custom, tiknu anshei knesses hagdola shalosh hatfilos shachris mincha marav. So then the anshei knesses hagdola, as we've been mentioning, the men of the great assembly, when they establish a nusach and a set pattern of tefillah, they also set the times. V'tiknum keneged karbonos hatzibur, and they were established to correspond to the offerings that were brought in public. Because as we've mentioned, the prayers are meant to be an expression of the inner sense of the karbonos, of the offerings. And just as we have seen that the tamid, the offering that was brought every single day, but was brought in the morning and then in the afternoon, and those are considered obligatory. So therefore, as we have mentioned in previous sessions, even before we got into this specific learning of tefillah, and previous when we did Mincha and Marev, we talked about the obligatory nature of Shachris and of Mincha, because they correspond to the carbon tamid. And Marev corresponds to bringing of the limbs and the fats, which is brought at nighttime. And since the bringing of these items was not necessarily ma'akev, meaning that if you didn't do it, you wouldn't be held liable for that, af tefilas arvis hi rishus. So therefore, Marev is also in the category of what we call a rishus. However, we as males particularly, that we accept upon ourselves to daven marav like the other tefillas as a chova. And since on special days like Shabbos, Yontif, and Rosh Chodesh, there was an additional korban, literally additional korban called musaf, so that's why we have the establishment of the musaf prayer to correspond to those extra offerings on those special days. The kivat shetiknos hatfilas keneged karbanos, zmanei hatfilas nikmu al pi zmanei karbanos. And since these prayers were established to correspond with the offerings, so the times for those prayers are also meant to correspond with the times when those offerings were brought, which we'll see more as we go on. Again, the exact times, etc. We're just looking sort of at the philosophy of tefillah and the history of tefillah, and there you have it, Shachris, Mincha, and Mariv, as they corresponded to the karbonos of those days. So please continue davening for Chaylei Tzvah Gan Yisrael, for Shalem L'chol Petzuei Yisrael, safe return of all of our hostages. And we dedicate our learning to Nishmat Sarah and Daniel Shimon Rav Duran Vasheli Shem Kum Damo. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have a great day, and we'll see you here next time.